Hi everyone, this is Coryelle, and I am a metaphysical consultant and expert for animals and people. And this is the animal experience. And what this show is, it's a weekly show every Thursdays at 12 p.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Mountain, 2 p.m. Central, and 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what this is a show. This is a show on a lot of things. Hi, Rhonda, and hi, Adele, and hi, Sonia. This is a show on the animals' experience. This is bringing their voices. This is years of me talking to the animals and the wisdoms that I've learned from them and what I apply to my life on a daily basis. And I thought it would be nice to finally bring it to you. And Deborah is watching with Jackson. I'm just saying hello to some of my clients. So that's what this is all about. The animal experience is bringing the animal's experience to you. Wisdom, knowledge on everything from how they see death, like last week, to the week before that was reincarnation, to how they talk to divinity. Do they see spirits? Do they pray? Do animals lie? Things like that. There are things that I've learned over the years that I wanted to share with all of you. Hi, Chip. We love you. Coryelle. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I really do. So what we're dealing with today is we're dealing with a subject that's just like last week. I think I wanted to get like the really, meat and potatoes subjects out of the way. But first, before I say that, let me acknowledge some of these wonderful people. So Sonia says Leroy is actually listening to you. Of course he is. Leroy is one of her beautiful bullies. So yeah, of course they do. They always know. They listen intently. They know when I'm on. They can recognize when somebody can speak to them. They understand and get when there is somebody in the room who's hearing them and understanding them. Carla said just barely made it, but I'm here. I am glad you're here. I want to thank everybody for joining. And I know that this is a weird time, but it's really appreciated. And I wanted to try to be able to do this for people all over the world. So that's why I'm doing it now. So what I want to do today is I'm trying to tackle, or I wanted to get the meat and potatoes of a lot of people's questions out of the way. So the first week we talked about different animal communicators. We talked about how one communicator doesn't get necessarily always the same thing another one gets and why. The second week we talked about reincarnation. Last week we talked about transitioning and aka death. There is no death, but hi Neely, thank you very much for coming on. And this week I wanted to talk to you guys about sustenance animals and prey animals. And what do they want us to know? And it's not as cut and dry as talking to animals is not always as cut and dry as we think it is. We think that it's something like this and they're thinking something like this, but what we really need to do is we need to get to them and we need to ask them the tough questions. So that's what I did years ago. Let me just say this, okay? I just like to do a little, I just have my notes here. So I just want to do a little thing where I say, these shows are on subjects that I personally learned from communicating with the animals over the years. And remember that, no two A-seers, what I call animal communicators, are the same. So my experience may not be or the same as somebody else, or my experience may be different or the same as others. It depends. All right. There's no cookie cutter in this. Hi, Andrea. Thank you very much for joining. So this show in particular, all right, this show in particular is not about or not meant to change anyone's mind on their life choices or to say one way is wrong and the other way is right or, to pit. That's not what we're here about. We're not here about what's right or what's wrong. Whatever feels right to you, that's the way you should live your life. Period. End of discussion. I'm not going to put a kibosh on that. That's not what this is all about. What this is about is to try to be as neutral as I possibly can when I ask the prey animals and I ask the sustenance animals how they see their experience. What do they see? What do they want us to know? Hello, Linda, and hello, Sharon. Thank you for joining. So that's what it's meant. It's not meant to point fingers and say, that group's right, that group's wrong, that group's bad, that group's good. It's not about that. All right. So I just want to get that right off the bat. And please, it's important for you to know that I'm not chastising anybody or judging anybody. It's really about how these animals experience, aka the name of the show, life. Okay? So that's what I want to get off the bat. So hi, Coryelle. Damn, I just ran in from errands and this was on and I have to leave again. I'll catch you later. Catch you later, Sharon. Thank you very much for tuning in. So let's get started. Okay? So when I say sustenance or nourishment animals, what do I mean? So what I mean by that is animals who are taken into our bodies as food. Okay? Whether that's buffalo, or whether that's beef, or whether that's chicken, or whether that's fish, or whether that's pigeon, or whether that's whatever, or whether that's snake, whatever. Okay? It doesn't matter. All right? Animals that are taken into our body as food. Also prey animals for other animals. So like deer and rabbits, for example, impala, zebra, things like that there. All right. Also animals who produce food for us, like cows give us milk and cheese, and goats give us milk and cheese, and chickens give us eggs. So those are the kind of like the animals, those are the animals that I'm talking about when I talk about nourishment and sustenance animals. And so let's get into it. All right. So do animals understand what being a nourishment and sustenance animal means? What that entails? When they come down here, do they understand? When their soul comes down here? Many times they do. I've talked with quite a bit of different animals. I've talked with wild prey animals, of course. I've talked with, animals that are kept by humans, so goats and cows and steers, and I talk with a whole myriad of different prey animals. Many times I ask them, do you understand what this means, being that you're going to be used for nourishment? Yes, I do understand what it means. A lot of them say, they even think of it, a lot of them even think of it as an honor to be able to be given, to be able to give back to humanity, to be able to give back to the animals on this earth. They think of it as a great, great honor. And many understand and don't see it as a chore. All right, like I said before, or they don't see it as a punishment, or they don't see it as diminishment. It's not like lawyers come back as snails or something else like that there and they're being punished. It's not about that. Some people, and I'll talk more about this, or some animals and beings, I'll talk more about this next week. It's going to be very, 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 very interesting. Hang on, I want to bring somebody. Yeah. So what I wanted to do was this. What I want to do is this. Do they know about, they don't see it as a punishment. They don't see it as a chore. They don't see it as a diminishment of their soul, but rather an enhancement of it. It's a calling. For them, it's a calling. And like I said, next week, I'll talk more about this. It's a very interesting subject. I learned directly from the animals themselves. And it's about soul plans and life plans. Very interesting. So the other thing that I want to say is this before I forget. There is I'm having an interesting time with my internet. So hopefully, all right, I'm going to be able to stay on. If I don't panic. I will come back on as soon as I possibly can and take it from where I left off and do it in a two-parter, hopefully. But I'm just going to put out to the universe that we're going to do it in one session and it's not going to be a problem. So put it out to the universe, out to the universe. Okay. So do animals understand what it entails? Yes. So moving on. So mistreatment. Mistreatment is not respecting their sacrifice. Now, I'm not saying that animals are yippee, yippee, happy, skippy, all right, about being in a mass-produced situation. All right? I mean, I know very little beings that would be. What I am saying is that just because many know that they're being a nourishment animal that doesn't give us permission. Hey, Connie. Hi, Jenny. That doesn't give us permission to treat them as if they were things. All right? Now, I understand I can't wish the mass production and mass food production away. I can't do that. Neither can you. And it's a powerless feeling situation, but I'm hoping that in what I have to say or what the animals have to say, you can take your power back in this. All right? That's my goal. All right? To take your power back in this. So would we like to change it right this hot minute? Abso-freaking-lutely, no doubt about it. Can we? No, we can't. What we can do is, instead of pitying those animals, instead of saying this is wrong, this is ugly, this is bad, this is terrible, what we do is that take your power back. Send all these beautiful beings in these situations love and light. It may sound simple, but when you send another being love, they feel it, especially in the animals. And can you imagine what it would be like if you're in that situation, then all of a sudden you're flooded with a massive amount of love and understanding and appreciation and just incredible, incredible love. I mean, that's incredible. That's something that, you know, where you can take your power back. So going back to say what I'm saying before, you know, I don't forgive this and I don't let this go in that it's mass production or whatever. It's, you know, the animals wanted this. Oh, well, there's a difference. So there's a difference between mass production and honoring the animal in a sacred way. So, just because they give their permission, to reiterate, to treat them as a nourishment animal doesn't mean that they're things. And it's about respecting what they're giving us, not lessening it by mistreatment. Animals are not martyrs. They're simply willing to give back to humanity and this world with their unconditional, incredible love and trust. But they would prefer it that it's done with respect and appreciation for what they're given, what they're giving us. All right. So mass production takes away from that significance of the animal and their sacrifice, and it diminishes their life force. It takes them from a place of certainty, and it brings them to a place of uncertainty and uncertainty and unappreciation, so to speak. So it makes a mockery. To me, this is my opinion, it makes a mockery of their gift to us. It's not something that they believe they should be, the animals believe it should be supported, but they also believe that if they can bring attention to the problem by shedding light on it through actions being done to them, and through talking to us about it, you know, that's how we shed light on this, bringing this to light. How do the animals feel about this? How do animals feel about mass production, food production? You know, they feel like if they're able to shed, I'm able to shed, or somebody else is able to shed just one light on it, it'll hopefully we'll get one step closer to stopping mass production. In the meantime, what do we do? And I'll talk about that in a moment. How do we honor their sacrifice? And I'll talk about that in a little bit. So how about prey animals? Let's move on. How about prey animals? Well, I had a conversation with many prey animals, especially with the animals when I attuned them to Reiki a few years ago. The animals like the rabbits and the deer and the zebras and things like that there. And while I was doing that, many prey animals, I was talking to them, and many prey animals understand the risks. And it was very interesting and actually quite beautiful, their outlook on things. So many prey animals understand the risks they're taking. They understand, they get it, they live it, they live with a healthy fear. Now there's healthy fear. There's fear like, oh my God, the big lion is about to eat me. I better run. And then there's fear of every single day, what's going to happen? You know, why is my life like this? Why am I living like this? You know, there's a difference, if you get what I'm saying. So they live in healthy fear, and it's an intense, fierce need for survival. If that makes any sense. When they connect, when I connect to them, their outlook comes with this incredible clarity. There's no confusion. There's no like shoulda, woulda, coulda. There's no I'm not sure. There's when I connect to a lot of the prey animals, there is an incredible clarity on those things that are important to them. To love and appreciate every single moment that they're given, and every single moment to them is a gift. It's almost always, and they're almost always in the now. They're not in what happened 2 weeks ago. They're not in what's going to happen 2 weeks from now. They're in what's happening and appreciating their life now. And it's really an incredible thing. And they're not doing it in fear. They're doing it in living their lives the fullest they possibly can in this moment right now. Nothing else has to happen other than right now enjoying your life. I mean, that's pretty intense. That's pretty incredible. Prey animals are in a constant state of appreciation. Constant state of appreciation. And they're always, they're not, yes, do they have fear? Yes, of course. But, it's not like we humans have experienced. It doesn't paralyze them. It doesn't make them crazy. And I'll answer your question in 1 second, Chip. Let me just finish this. But it's not like the humans experience. Oh my God, I'm worried. I don't want to be homeless. They're just like, they come to this part in their mind where they're just like that. They have a clarity. The only thing I worry about is getting eaten. That's it. But if I get eaten, I know that I'm giving back to this world, so I'm okay. So they give of their bodies freely. They know they're helping their fellow animals in the earth itself. And those that take their lives, they do appreciation for their sacrifice. I've talked to wolves. I've talked to cheetahs, the big cats. I've talked to all different kinds of predator animals, the hawks, the eagles. How do you see these animals, and what do you do when you take a life? And what they do is they just give words as they're taking that life. They understand the importance of it, and they just don't do it willy-nilly. They understand the importance of the decision of taking that life, and they acknowledge what they are taken and what is being given. So now I want to just go back 1 second. Chip, do you, as I do, believe there is no good and evil in the animal kingdom? That's actually a really interesting subject, and I think I might put that on the list of subjects. I think that's pretty interesting. From my experience, there isn't. Because it's not coming from a place of maliciousness. It's not coming from a place of greed. It's not coming from a place of, you got what I want, so I'm taking what you got, and envy and jealousy. It's coming from a place of purity. Their actions mean something, and they acknowledge that even though their actions might not be happy, skippy, fluffy, happy, their actions are something that they acknowledge that they're doing. They acknowledge it. I'm taking this life. I'm not doing it. I'm taking this life. Why am I taking this life? And because I need to eat. Because I need to feed my family. It's not because, the Impala got moved and the Impala family moved too close to my house and they're pooping on my lawn. It's not, it's not about that. So I hope that answered that question. And again, thank you everyone for joining. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join me here. So moving on. So why do some souls choose to come back as nourishment animals? Now, I'm going to go more in depth in this. You're welcome, Chip. So I'm going to go more in depth in this next week when I talk about soul plans and life plans. Very interesting. This, I really and truly, this subject I learned almost 100% from the animals. I didn't know anything about this. I had no clue. But they really showed me about this, and it's fascinating. But so do souls come back? Why do some souls come back as nourishment animals? It's something that is pretty important and pretty intense. But in short, they either want the experience of having a life as a nourishment animal, or they believe it's in their soul's purpose either to help non-physical, which is what I call heaven, or what they call heaven, or this planet to be a nourishment or prey animal. So there's always a purpose, always a purpose. Thank you, Laura, for joining. So the prey animals and the nourishment animals. Finally, to wrap this whole thing up and to wrap this episode up, how do you honor the life and the sacrifice that you've been given? So I was told by many nourishment and prey animals that the way to honor them is to simply give thanks. When in thanking them, it nullifies what came before. It doesn't make it right, okay? But it gives it a purpose, all right? It nullifies what came before because it brings a reason to why it happened at all. If you're thanked for something you've done and you've struggled and you've worked your butt off and you've, come really, really far, and then somebody says, thank you for what you've done. It brings a meaning to it. It brings a clarity to why it happened at all. Okay. I haven't had power back on Laura says I haven't had power back very long. Well, I'm glad that you have your power, and I'm also glad that you joined me today. So if that makes sense, it really brings a purpose back. And I want to read what I wrote in my notes word for word because it when I channeled it, it really felt like it was purely from them. So just give me a moment. I'm just going to look at my notes for a second. It takes away all that came before and gives a purpose to what they went through. And anytime a soul can feel the purpose, that it's brought to this world, it grows and becomes more. Even after they've left this earth. Hi, Sandra. Every single thing, now this is for me personally, every single thing, no matter if it's animal, vegetable, mineral, or whatever, I give thanks. I'm not saying I have to give thanks like, this is not the Waltons where we all have to sit around the table and give thanks for like 15 minutes before we do. It's simply, before I take something into my body, whether it's water, whether it's juice, whether it's an animal, whether it's a vegetable, whether it's pasta, I thank the being for their sacrifice. It brings a purpose to their life, their energy. I want to, when I enhance and when I take them into my body as nourishment, I thank them for the nourishment that they're giving my body, their mind, my soul. I thank them for everything in a quick second, and it's a blessing of your food. It's old-timey, like we used to do back in the day, but it's important. It makes sense if you think it. Even if you just say, thanks a lot. That's it. Before you eat, that's it. And it might take a little bit, to get into the habit because, some of us, like me, we eat a lot. We drink a lot. And so, every single thing I eat or drink, I give thanks for. I give thanks for the sacrifice that's been made, the nourishment their essence provides my body and mind and soul. I acknowledge them for helping me live and grow and thrive. In those small words, I let them know that I see them and what they've done for me. So give thanks for what you've been given. Just acknowledge what they've done for you and bring purpose to what they've gone through. And also for you, it nullifies anything, however that food came to your table, whether it's through mass production or whatever, it nullifies what came before. It makes it blessed. It's that simple. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. And also, this is a way for you, I was talking about this earlier, it's a kind of when you bless your food and you thank that food and you thank that being and that entity, you're taking your power back in a way, like sending them love and light to the animals that are in interesting food situations. Okay, I don't want to say whatever, they're in interesting food situations. All right, whether you like it or not, I don't want to get into, the ugliness of it doesn't help them, but focusing on loving them and sending them love and light and thanking them when that food gets to your table is really, really important. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps you and gives you a little feeling of empowerment in this situation, because a lot of people feel very adamant about what's right and what's wrong for them. And a lot of people feel very adamant about what people should and shouldn't do. I don't should on people. For me personally, I asked the animal consciousness, the nourishment animals and the prey animals, I asked them a long time ago. I was a vegetarian for a lot of years, and then I felt like there was something, I wasn't getting what I needed, and I couldn't find a substitute. And so I connected to the prey animals. I connected to the sustenance animals, and I asked them, is it okay for me to partake of your sacrifice? And they said, yes, but please bless us and please thank us for it. So that's what I do. That's what I do. So this is episode 4, Animal Experience. I hope that these episodes you're enjoying these episodes. I know that a lot of people are letting me know that they enjoyed these episodes and this show, and I couldn't be more thrilled, because I think it's something that really needs to be heard I think it needs to be said, and I think it needs to be brought to light. And I am just thrilled and honored to be able to do that for y'all, really. So let me see if there's any questions. Carrie Font. Hi, Coryelle. Can I watch this series? Hello. Hang on one second. Can I watch this series somewhere? I always seem to come in halfway through or towards the end. I want to be sure to get all your wisdom and not just snippets. Well, good. I don't want you to get snippets of my wisdom either. So, yes, thank you for asking that, Carrie, because it's a great question. I just made a folder specifically for the episodes of the animal experience. It's on my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, so you're going to have to friend me on Facebook in order. You might not have to friend. No, I think I made it public so anybody could see it. But I might change that for friends. It's a little incentive. Anyway, if you go into my photos, you'll go into the videos, you'll see the animal experience. In fact, I'll post another link to it again. I just made it yesterday. So everybody could just, boom, I could just send everybody there. So I hope that helps. And I'm going to be posting this one. Again, I'm having interesting internet experience right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get that fixed within the next 24 hours. And as soon as I get a chance to, because right now I'm just working from my phone. Very interesting. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to, once my internet is working for my computer, I'll upload this episode to that folder. Okay. So I hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Thank you. I want to thank everybody for joining. As I said, I really appreciate you. So next week, I'll be discussing something that's pretty interesting to me. Well, everything I'm discussing is interesting to me, but it's about soul plans and life plans. What I mean by that is where our souls are imprinted with plans. Our lives are imprinted to a certain extent with plans, not destiny, like you have to do this and you're destined to do that, but it's about plans. It's about guidelines about where we're going. So the animals are really, really good at this. And they were the ones that taught me all about it at first. They showed me all about it at first. So I'll be sharing that with you next week. And so you can tune in here again, Thursdays, 12 p.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Mountain, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard. I'm sorry, I don't know what it is all across the world, but whatever, I got a time. That's what time converters are all about. So if you are interested in a reading with me for you or your animal, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me here. You can find me like my Facebook page also, because I do my weekly card pulls on there. I do the animal experience on this page. And you can find me on Twitter, you can find me on Pinterest, on Instagram. You can also go to my website, which is www.coryellekramer.com, or mail@coryellekramer.com is my email. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I can't wait to get the next animal experience up and ready for you next week. And what I'm also going to be doing is I'm going to be doing an event on Facebook. So if you want to be notified about it, and I'll send you the link for it, but you have to, if I can only invite a certain amount of people, and I have a lot of friends. So if you want to be notified about the episode next week, go to the event and say that you're going. I'm going to change it for next week, and then you should be ready to rock and roll. Again, everybody, thank you. Love to you, love to your animals, and love everyone. Everyone love one another, okay? And just send love and light as I send love and light to you. Take care, and I'll see you next week.